Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. It's been a while, because I didn't really have anything to talk about, because all I was basically doing was playing Mass Effect Andromeda, and that would have gotten boring. Not the game. Talking about the game. I feel like no one cares. But now I have too much to talk about because everything always happens at once. So let's start off with a couple of quick movie reviews. First, last weekend, went to see Rampage, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, loosely based on the classic arcade video game, where crazy monsters destroy a city. And the actual rampaging part at the end of the movie, where the monsters are destroying the cities, that's quite fun. It's very entertaining, and probably would have looked really good in 3D. I was not shelling out for a 3D ticket for this one. However, everything leading up to the actual rampage was really not very good. It wasn't interesting, it wasn't compelling, and it wasn't entertaining, it wasn't funny, it was really stupid. And I'm amazed that there were like a half a dozen people that it took to write this script, and I'm like, and this is the best you could come up with? It's super cheesy and ridiculous. So my recommendation on Rampage is watch it on TV or somewhere where you can fast forward to get to the actual rampaging, because that's the good part. That's all anybody wants to see anyway. But obviously this weekend was Avengers Infinity War, which, wow. That's all I can say. Like, it's crazy. It's like the biggest Marvel crossover movie ever. Like, basically, remember how you felt when you watched the Avengers and you saw all those characters come together for the first time as a team, and how exciting that was? Okay, that feeling times infinity. Like, just forget it. Like, it's everyone and everything, and it's huge. It's just crazy. Now, I know that I'm probably going to have problems with this movie. Like, when I watch it again, I'll notice things, and I'll be like, oh, that's not very good, or oh, that's really awkward, or that's a bad whatever. But it's such an overwhelming assault on your senses for over almost 3 hours that, like, I couldn't find anything wrong with it. Like, while I'm watching it, like, there's no time to go, that doesn't really make sense, because there's so much happening that you don't have time to think about it. Which I guess helps, because it makes your review basically like, wow, this was amazing, because you can't put it into words. Having thought about it for a day or so now, I can say that I did have a little bit of a problem. Because all the characters are in it, the Guardians of the Galaxy have always been funnier than the other characters, except for Thor, who basically became a Guardians of the Galaxy jokester in his most recent movie, which I was not entirely crazy about. But basically, in the beginning, it's a little like jarring to suddenly go into full tilt Guardians comedy mode, and then back into another character, you know. But then it's a little obnoxious, like, towards the end of the movie, when things are, like, super serious and it's the fate of the universe at stake. Some of the humor, for me, like, didn't land, and I don't know if they weren't good jokes, or if I'm like, this is no time for jokes. Because, like, we're trying not to die here, people. So, they do get serious, but they should have gotten serious sooner. I don't know. It was a little awkward, like, the balance of the humor and the drama. But that's just me. And that's literally all I can think of to complain about right now, because it's just incredible spectacle. And I kind of want to go back and see it again in 3D, because I think that I would like to see this on the big screen in 3D. Because I can't go back and see it regular, because, as an aside, it turns out that MoviePass, which we all knew was too good to be true for $10 a month, I don't know why they don't just raise their price. It's like they're trying to keep the low price, but now they're, like, restricting things. And, like, if you sign up now, you can only see, like, 4 movies in a month. Which is, I don't care, because, like, that's all I ever saw anyway, really, because I don't have time to go to the movies that often. But now they're restricting you to seeing each movie only once. Which is not really a problem for me, because A, I thought that was the rule when I first signed up for it, months ago. And B, I tend not to see movies twice in the theater just because I don't have time. Like, going to the theater to see a movie is like a commitment, and I don't have time to go to the movies a lot. So if I'm going to go to the movies, I'm going to want to see something that I haven't seen before. So it doesn't really bother me that they're restricting me to not seeing movies again and again. Except in this case where I might want to go see Avengers again, because there's so much going on that I'd like to see it again and you know, see the rest of it that I missed the first time because I was so overwhelmed. But as for gaming, I am still playing Mass Effect Andromeda, and it's funny because I hit a boss fight that was ridiculously, insanely difficult. It's that same destroyer that I had trouble with before, but then figured out, oh, okay, if I just, you know, strategize and like hide behind the pile, you know, and I can take it out. Here, my strategy to take it out doesn't work because, yeah, there's plenty of cover, but he also has these observers that he keeps making. They keep respawning. So taking out the observers with those laser beams that go through literally everything to hit you, taking them out to work on the destroyer doesn't work because they keep respawning. And they are annoyingly difficult enemies when they're swarming around you like that. And, like, on their own, it's like they're fine, but when there's a swarm of them, they're a pain in the ass. And I'm also trying to take out the destroyer because that's, like, the goal. And, like, it's just annoying. Like, I tried taking out, like, some of them and leaving a couple, but they just keep respawning anyway. It's not like, because sometimes in games, if you take care of all the enemies, they'll respawn. But if you take care of them but just leave one, then you're fine, and you can just handle that one and then work on the big guy and just have the one henchman. But that doesn't seem to work here, so crap. But then, and I tried it a bunch of times, getting super agitated. I went online, and nobody had any hints. They're like, just take out the destroyer. And I'm like, how? It's too difficult! And I'm wondering if maybe I'm not strong enough for it, and I don't have the best weapons and armor and stuff. So I was like, you know what? This is a side mission. I'll just leave and come back later. Maybe. Because I realized that I was like, this is just a side mission. I don't think I need to finish this in order to finish the game. So if this proves too difficult, I'll just leave it. Because I'm now leaving a bunch of the side missions because there's just too many to do. So, you know. But I also, this week, went to Nintendo World, Nintendo New York, as it is called now. And I was just looking to see, like, if there's any new merch, whatever, see what's new, Animal Crossing-wise, or Zelda-wise, whatever. And there wasn't anything new or that interesting. But they did have the upstairs area where they have the little museum. That was redone to demonstrate Nintendo Labo. And I was just sort of looking, and the guy was like, hey, come back here and I'll show you. And I'm like, well, I'm on my lunch break, but I've got like 5 minutes, so okay, sure, fine. So he showed me some of the stuff, and gave me a couple of the setups where I like played some of the mini games and stuff. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the motorcycle game to work because it wouldn't sync with one of the Joy-Cons, and then he tried to show me the piano, but the piano switch had the battery had died and they needed to replace it, so I only really got to see a little bit, but it was really neat, and I kind of want to get it. I would get the assortment one, because that one, it's like $70, and you get like a bunch of different mini games, and you can assemble a bunch of different things. Some of them are simple, like the little RC car takes like 15 minutes, and some of them, like the piano, would take a couple of hours. And then there's the robot one, where you assemble like robot armor that you wear, and then you can play, you know, motion-controlled robot action. But that one's like $80, so, but you only get the one game. And I'm just like, hopefully that's a really, like, decent game to play, because you're paying more for that one, and it's just the one game, whereas the other one is a collection of little mini games, which I wouldn't expect to be very deep. But I like the idea of like assembling it. My only concern is once I've assembled it, I've got nowhere to put it, so I would have to like flatten it back out again. So if it takes a really long time to put it together, I'm not going to want to take it apart, because then my efforts will have gone to waste. So I'm still not 100% sold on it. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm tempted now that I've actually seen it in action. It's kind of neat. And I do like assembling things. Like I like jigsaw puzzles and Legos and stuff like that, so it's kind of up my alley. But in other Nintendo news, I bought a new game. I had some trade-in credit at GameStop, because normally I don't buy at GameStop, I buy at Best Buy so I can get a discount. Like Nintendo Labo would only be $55 at Best Buy with my discount. So I tend not to buy at GameStop, because whatever, but I had traded in some stuff, so I had some credit. So it ended up only costing me $20 to buy Dragon Quest Builders. The reason that I did this is because my 3DS is driving me insane. I would try to play Animal Crossing on the train, and even when I played it in the morning, when the battery would still be fresh, it still did the same thing. I'd get towards the end of my playtime, and it would start flashing red, and I'd have to shut the 3DS so that it would turn blue again, and then I could open it and play some more, and then it would decide, no, I'm dying. But it's not. There's still plenty of power left in that battery, and if you check the screen, like if you check the battery icon, it's full. And then suddenly it's not. And then you close it to give it a rest for a second or two, and then when you open it, it's fine again. And it's super irritating, and last week I was playing, and it would flash red, and I would close it, and then one time it flashed red, and I closed it, but I was just like a half a second too late, and it had shut off as I was closing it. So I lost all of my Animal Crossing save, and I went home and plugged it in, and I had to deal with Rossetti, and it was super annoying, and I'm just like, F you, 3DS. So now my 3DS, it no longer feels like a portable system, because the battery doesn't last, and I'll just play Animal Crossing at home now, with it plugged in, or at least right next to the plug, so that I can plug it in quickly if I need to. And I'm going to use my Switch now as my portable gaming system, in the hopes that there will one day be an Animal Crossing that I can play on that, and then I can put my 3DS aside for good. But, so to that end, I said Dragon Quest Builders. I really enjoyed that demo, surprisingly, as you might recall from the previous episode where I talked about that demo. And it was surprisingly deep. There was a lot to do in it, and I did quite a lot. I was very disappointed, however, to put in the cartridge for Dragon Quest Builders and discover that you have to replay that entire demo opening. Because it was long. And it's like, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, build this, build that, do this, do that. And then when you reach the point where it's like, now you can go to a new area, that's when the demo was like, and you'll have to wait for the real game to do that. So here, it only took me like a day or so to get to that point, but, and then I moved on to the next area. But it was super annoying to have to replay the demo. But, the new area, interestingly enough, I started exploring, and I kind of just got a little too enthusiastic about exploring what's out there, and got my ass handed to me a couple of times, and I died, and I reawakened at the save point in the original area, and I'm like, whoops. And I very quickly came to realize that I need to not... They're like, because one guy was, like, one of the people in my town is like, hey, I thought I saw a guy out there, like, maybe you could go and invite him to come move here. So I'm like, okay, so I go to find him, and trying to get to him was insane, and I'm like, there's all these enemies attacking me, and I'm not strong enough, and I'm just like, oh my god, and so I went back, and I slowed down, and I tried to build other things, and then I realized that I need to just take it easy, because if I go slowly and explore and discover new items that I can, you know, make new things with, and now I've unearthed, you know, copper and coal, and I've made a forge, and now I can make better armor, and I can make better weapons, and I'm like, okay, now I feel like I'll be able to go and take care of those enemies. Because the thing is that you don't, and the game even tells you this, the goddess voice tells you that fighting tons of enemies is not going to help you get stronger. It's not that kind of an RPG. All it will do is you defeat them and you'll get some kind of an item that you can then use to make things. So you have to learn how to make better weapons and better armor in order to defeat the stronger enemies. So now that I have better armor and better weapon, I'm like, now I can go off and maybe do that other quest without dying so quickly. I also learned how to make better medicine, but I need to go and get more ingredients to make more of that better medicine because I've only got one. But it just taught me that I need to go slowly and carefully and not just charge on ahead like an idiot and get myself killed, because that's not a good idea. But it's fun. I will say that playing it portably, because I feel like when I played the demo it was mostly on the TV, making this a portable game, so at home I play Mass Effect Andromeda on my TV, and I only play my Switch portably. Some of the type and icons and such are a bit small for my aging eyes. And I'm not buying reading glasses so that I can play the Switch, because that's just embarrassing and not going to happen. Yeah, so I'm enjoying that, and I've also downloaded a couple of demos that I've not yet tried for the PlayStation. But I am going to try them so that I'll have something else new to talk about next week, because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be getting a Nintendo Labo by next week, but we shall see. So that's it for now. I don't want to ramble on anymore, and I'll see you back here next time, and I'll see if I can talk about those demos. Bye!